Hello and welcome. This is James Blanchard Cisneros at your service. Today I'll be reading the May 5th Daily Inspirational Message. The condensed version is 2 paragraphs long. Then I'll center myself, say a little prayer, and then make a couple comments from the message. And if you find the message of use, please be so kind as to like it. Or even join us as a subscriber. Thank you for that. Here we go. The title, Taking the First Step Towards Forgiveness. Paragraph 1. We have been programmed to believe that being the first to forgive is hard and challenging. But isn't the weight of judgment that the ego has us carry, the constant thoughts that darken our days, and the nights of tossing and turning and losing sleep, a much harder and heavier burden to bear? Sometimes we unconsciously choose the heavier burden of not forgiving because we have bought into the ego's delusion of guilt. This guilt reinforces in us the idea that we're not worthy of or able to make the choices that will lead us to the state of peace. In essence, not forgiving another becomes an unconscious way of punishing ourselves by withholding peace from ourselves. Today, let us recall that forgiveness and peace, as reflections of the love that God is, are our inheritance, and thus we are forever worthy of them. Paragraph 2. Today, let us become the hero of our own journey. No longer will we wait for another to take the first step toward forgiveness so that we can have peace. Today, we will take the first, second, and if need be, the third step towards forgiveness, freedom, and peace. Today, let us decide that our past will no longer haunt us. Tonight, having chosen forgiveness over judgment, being happy over being right, and thus peace over pain, we will find true rest. No matter how much the ego has programmed us to stay chained to the mindset of judgment, we will now instead choose the freedom that forgiveness offers. When we forgive another, we free ourselves from carrying the burden of judgment, and in doing so, return home to the state of peace. All right. Taking the first step toward forgiveness. Okay. The idea of today's daily inspiration is those times when we get into arguments, less discussion with somebody, and we become angry at each other, and nobody wants to be the first person to forgive. That's never happened to us, right? Okay, so I'm going to make 4 points that I trust will assist you in becoming the hero of your journey and being able to forgive and thus obtain the peace that you're worthy of and that we're all worthy of. Okay, point number 1. When in that situation, ask yourself, who is the one being poisoned right now by my own unforgiving thoughts? Who am I punishing with my own unforgiving thoughts? Where are my own unforgiving thoughts being carried? Are they making me toss and turn at night? Because I can't find the way to peace? Because I'm deciding that I want to hold on to these unforgiving thoughts? And so in point number 1, remember, it is you who are punishing yourself by choosing to still hold on to these unforgiving thoughts. Okay, point number 2. Remind yourself, okay, God is love and light, and He created me to be the loving light of this world. Created all of us to be that, right? And so what am I here to do? In point number 2, remind yourself of that. I'm here to be the light of the world. Love, light. Those extensions are, one of them is forgiveness, compassion, understanding. And so I'm here to be the forgiving light of the world. And so if I'm forgiving, I'm fulfilling my function as the loving light in this world. If I'm not forgiving, I'm not fulfilling my function as the light of the world. And so when you forgive, you start to feel like, okay, I did what I was meant to do. in this situation. If you do not forgive, you feel a sense of you feel unfulfilled. You feel like something remains to be said or done. And so remind yourself in point number 2, what am I here to do? I'm here to be the light of the world, and forgiveness is one of those expressions. Okay. Point number 3. Always remind yourself that peace, because that is the foundation of reality. The love that God is the foundation. Just the stuff that we put on top of it that sometimes blocks it. So in point number 3, remind yourself, peace is always just a choice away. How do I get to the state of peace? Through forgiveness. And so just remind yourself, okay, the power to have peace right now resides within me. That's good. That's good news. Because if it resided somewhere out there in the 8 other billion people, that would be a task to try to get to that place of peace. But the place of peace resides within you right now, just a simple choice away. And in this situation, it's simply asking you to be courageous, be the first person to forgive, to be the hero of your journey. So that's point number 3. Remember, no matter how challenging the situation may be, peace is always just a choice away. And so each and every time they come to mind, remind yourself, okay, I can choose peace instead of this. And I do so by offering forgiveness to my brother or sister. So that's point number 3. And then point number 4 is, if it's too hard for you to forgive right now, that's okay. Take a breath. Invite God, source, perfect love, to forgive for you. And so say, God, I just can't forgive this person right now. Do me a favor, just forgive them for me. Please, and then ask, please send them light. Please have them experience peace and clarity and understanding and compassion and joy. And so each time you invite God to decide for you, He's going to decide in alignment with love. So He'll offer them that peace, that compassion, that understanding, that clarity, that joy, that healing, that hope. And so all you have to do, if your little ego is in control of your mind and says, no, I shall not forgive right now. Okay, invite God to forgive them for you. Say, God, I can't do this right now. Please do me a favor, forgive them for you. And little by little, because you and God are one, you'll start to notice the wisdom of His ways. The wisdom of offering compassion and understanding to your brother or sister instead of condemnation and resentment and regret and pain and guilt and shame. And so that's point number 4. If you can't just do that right now, invite God to forgive them for you. And little by little, you start to see, you know what? When God sends them light, when God sends them healing, I kind of feel good. So you know what? Let me start to try that. And then little by little, you get closer and closer to being able to forgive them. And so that's point number 4. Invite God in. All right. So those are the 4 suggestions you may want to try. And if I can recall them, is point number 1 is remember, you're punishing yourself with your own thoughts, but you can also heal yourself through forgiveness. And point number 2 is to remind yourself that you're always just one choice away from the state of peace. In this case, through the act of being the first to forgive. And then point number 3 is to remember, yes, I can choose peace instead of this. I can choose peace instead of this. And so on point number 2, just remember that what you're here to do is to choose in alignment with love. And so forgive. And then in point number 3, remind yourself that I can choose peace instead of this. And then point number 4, if you can't just choose peace instead of this right now, invite God to choose peace for you by offering your brothers and sisters that little extra compassion and understanding and light and healing and peace. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I love you very much. If you can be so kind as to like this daily inspiration, it would be lovely. And God willing, we will see each other tomorrow. Peace.